At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu. With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to Ghostly.
Is Asylum 49 in Utah haunted?
Ghostly is your bi-weekly dose of the paranormal. We unearth chilling ghost stories and examine the evidence with a critical eye. Rebecca hunts down the legends while I, your friendly neighborhood skeptic, poke holes in her theories. In the end, you the listener get to decide, is it genuine haunting or just made up? Click the subscribe or follow button to always be in the loop for new spooky tales. And as always, we're your host, and I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca.
All right, so we have a Utah episode today, Asylum 49.
Also known by other names.
Well, I was going to say, though, that Asylum 49 it was never called Asylum 49 until they until they opened up like a haunted place there.
Oh, the haunted house. One of those like crazy haunted houses.
Yeah. So I don't even know if it was ever like an asylum per se like that.
Well, you're going to have to tell us that in the history. But yeah, I think you're right based on what I read.
So very interesting that we're doing an asylum that's called Asylum 49 that wasn't an asylum at all.
Yes.
So
it was a hospital though.
Okay. Yeah. It was. Yeah. And this is in Tooele.
Yeah.
Utah, which is an area right outside of like Salt Lake City, I believe.
Okay.
Right? Or within there.
Yeah.
It's like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
So what do we have coming up for ghost stories in this particular episode?
Definitely some creepy stuff out there. We've got a man in black.
Ooh.
Instead of a woman in white, we got a man in black.
Here comes the man in black.
We have a portal and a little girl that follows you home.
Wow. What does she do when she follows you home? Are we going to find out?
We're going to find out. Yeah.
Oh my God. Now I want to know. So yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty good episode. I'm really excited about it. Give me just 1 second. I just want to look to see. I always want to make sure that there's no reviews that we received this particular time, and there are not. Okay. So that's one of the ways that you can get a shout out on Ghostly is to give us a review on Apple Podcast. We always prefer those 5-star reviews, and we will read any and all reviews that we receive. The reason why it's like specifically Apple is because that's the only one that the reviews seem to matter as far as like feeding it to other people kind of thing. So, and the second way is to become a member on Patreon. We have a lot of members on Patreon. We're really excited about it. We're excited to find out what you would want out of Patreon too. So let us know if there is something we don't offer that you would actually like. You can go to ghostlypodcast.com and click on Patreon in the menu bar.
All right. Yeah. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we are after a drought. We're starting to get more listener mail, which is exciting, but please
But it's dry in here?
No.
Oh.
Well, no. We've got some
Okay.
some water coming in, I guess.
We had some water coming in?
Yeah.
Do we need a plumber or something?
Obviously we still keep sending. I mean, we're not underwater yet.
Yeah.
We still need more, but
Okay.
but we're
So it's
starting
not
to
time
get
for
more.
a plumber yet. Then.
No,
So,
no,
okay.
not yet. So I want to share. We got a letter in the mail, the actual physical mail.
Oh,
And I apologize that it took us a while to get this letter. We, you got to go to the post office. It's like a whole special trip.
there's like a place you have to physically go.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And I apologize. And especially in the winter time, but I guess we're now in summer. I'm not always as good about going, but I really appreciate it. This is a letter from Abigail.
Oh, okay.
And we appreciate you very much writing us. And she wrote us a really nice long letter with lots of different little stories in it.
And don't worry, people, we're not going to read the long letter right now. We're going to read a bit of the long letter.
I have gone through and kind of cut it up a little bit, and we'll read different parts of it as we go. And we also have a few other stories out there that we'll get to. So if you sent us something, promise we'll get to it. And maybe real quick before I read this, if someone has a story, how can they send it to us?
So the way that Abigail did it is the cool way that all the cool kids are doing. And actually, there's not many cool kids then because we don't get many of them, is to send it in the actual mail, which is P.O. Box number 264, Geneva, Illinois, 60134. But the other ways are pretty easy, and anyone can do them very, very fast. You could email us at info@ghostlypodcast.com, or you can just use the contact form that's on ghostlypodcast.com. There's like a find us button or contact us button that you can just press, and it'll take you right to the form. You're not going to remember any of the stuff that I have. It's all on ghostlypodcast.com. The actual address is in the footer if you're looking for the actual snail mail.
Yeah, which
do
we
people
love
still
to
call
get.
it snail mail?
Yes.
Okay.
And we do love to get that. So, I promise I will be more vigilant. Also, if you want to DM us on social media, that is fine too, at Ghostly Podcast.
Yes.
All right, let me get into the first part of this letter. So, dear Pat and Rebecca, this is the little sister of the girl who wrote you in the Confederate Cemetery in Alton, Illinois.
Oh, and that's the one where we had our donor, my donor on.
Yes.
Mark. Yeah.
One of our very special favorite episodes ever. If you haven't listened to that episode, it was only, maybe 6 months ago? Something like that. It was in the fall.
Yeah, which is like 100 episodes ago.
We don't remember. But
it's Alton, though.
Alton. Look that up. Yeah. And there may be more news about Alton coming up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited.
Well, you know what it is.
I do?
I hope so. Anyways, so thank you for writing us. So let me continue here.
Yes.
Now, in that letter, after you read it, you commented on some stuff and had some questions. So I'd like to clear a few things up. So, may need to go back and listen to that episode for some of this to work for you. Yes, our father is very much alive, which is why my sister responded to seeing him the way she reacts whenever I tell her it's time for dinner. She would not have had that reaction if he were not with us.
Okay.
Our house may or may not be haunted. I can see no reason why it would be.
Oh, okay.
The only bad thing that happened in the area, repeat area, not house, is a fire in which I don't think anyone died. I was very little when it happened, though the effects could still be seen when we first moved into the house.
Interesting.
There was a burnt up Volkswagen Bug just beyond the property. If anything would be haunted, it would be that car. Though I can also see no reason why it wouldn't be haunted, I think is what she's saying there. The doors closing could be chalked up to a simple case of the fan or vent being on without her realizing it. As you can probably tell, I am leaning on Pat's side.
What?
And here is the reason.
Somebody is leaning on my side. Somebody that has a name that could be a ghost name. This could be a ghost writing this letter to us, Abigail.
Well, let me finish here.
Okay.
And here's the reason. I am terrified of ghosts.
Oh.
Always have been and most likely always will be. I sleep at night with the covers over my head so I don't see ghosts, for I have always been convinced that they would come to torment me. I have mostly grown out of this, except when I am really tired. Despite this, I agree with many things Pat says. I don't like this letter. Seeing a ghost or something at night could be seen as just not being fully awake. Think of the chair in the corner meme. There was a time once when I managed to convince myself that a piece of string was a spider because of this. And I also convinced myself over the summer at night in my grandma's house that someone was trying to get in my room. Specifically, I thought that one of my ancestors was trying to get in the door. No amount of music or reading convinced me otherwise. It was the wind. Sleep can do crazy things to a person's brain.
Yeah, definitely.
So, we've got more stories and things coming up in her letter, but I thought you would like that first part there.
Okay,
Very
yeah.
skeptic.
I'm intrigued to hear more of Abigail's stories.
Yes.
So that was really nice.
Yeah,
Thank you, Abigail. We really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah. And again, we like those stories where you thought it was something spooky and it wasn't.
Yeah.
That's also okay.
Well, I mean, to me, like I would say, even if you are a believer, 99% of what you think is a ghost, it probably isn't then, right? And I think everyone needs to, think that kind of way, because I think that helps move us forward. Even if you're not a skeptic, as far as like me, where I don't believe in ghosts, even if you do believe in ghosts, just know at least 99% of what you're thinking is a ghost probably isn't.
Yes.
And there's probably some natural explanation that you just don't know.
I don't know about 99%.
Okay,
but I'll say
97.89.
a high percentage. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. You ready for polls?
No. Why would I be ready for them?
In our last episode, we
Oh,
talked about the Danvers State Hospital, the site of one of my favorite movies of all time, Session 9. So we had yes, 62%, and no, 38%.
Wow. Okay, so there's a lot of believers out there
I think
for this.
so.
So, the person that suggested this episode, Andrew, which is a Patreon member, and if you're a Patreon member, any of your episodes that are suggested goes right to the top of our list, if it can be done.
Yes.
Some stories we get is from like a local house or something like that. That first of all, we don't know much history of, and that it would be a 10-minute episode. Then we're probably not going to do that one. But I mean, if it's a full-length episode, there's a good chance we're going to do that one like next then. Yeah. But he is compiling stories, and I saw a post where he was asking people that around the area if they have any stories that they would like to add to his collection.
Oh,
so
excellent.
We'll see.
Wonderful.
We'll see what happens if he sends it in.
All right.
And the overall rating for this one is 4.3, which checks out. 62%, 38. Yeah, I guess that would be around where people would be.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing. That's all I got to say.
Oh, and also really quick, Abigail, I will have you know the fact that you later on in her letter, she also lists some potential episodes. And one of the things she asks for is episodes from Utah. And this episode we're doing right now is Utah.
Maybe that was a ghost that made us do that.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked number 1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years, and number 2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
I think it could be.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it can be.
It's certainly interesting.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready for a ghost story?
It's time for a spooky tale from Rebecca.
Yes, I am ready. Do you have one?
I do. Okay. I didn't believe the stories. Not really. I thought it was all part of the show. A haunted house doubling as a real-life ghost tour seemed like clever marketing. But that night, everything changed. I was volunteering at Asylum 49, helping set up for the Halloween season. Around midnight, I realized I left my bag near one of the old patient rooms down the west hallway. That wing was cold, darker than others, and always felt off. But I wasn't going to admit that I was scared. I walked down the hall alone, passing faded wallpaper and empty wheelchairs. When I reached the room, I saw someone already inside, a tall man in a black coat, just standing at the foot of the bed, his back to me. I thought maybe it was another volunteer in a costume, though no one was supposed to be there. "Hey," I said, "you scared me." No response. I stepped forward, and just as I reached the door, it slammed shut in my face. I jumped back. I tried the handle. It was locked. I called out again, louder this time, still nothing. I ran to find help. When 2 other volunteers came back with me, we had to pry the door open. And when we did, the room was empty, except for the chill. And my bag, still sitting untouched on the bed. I did not sleep that night. But in the morning, one of the staff told me something I'll never forget. "That's the room where the man in black was last seen," she said. "Every time someone sees him, someone dies." She smiled awkwardly. "But hey, you're still here, so lucky you."
Okay, so is this part evidence or is this just completely made up stuff that you made up?
This is evidence.
Oh, okay.
So this
All right.
is, I mean, it's not exactly like it's a storied version of a thing, but the door slamming
Rebecca's
shut.
version
Yes.
of that event.
But the door slamming and not being able to open and all that, that's a real story.
All right. So we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to get to the history.
Facts. From a skeptic point of view. Facts. He presents it all to you. Facts.
All right, so let's get to the pet facts.
Pet facts.
So long before the arrival of European settlers, the Tooele Valley was home to the Gashuit people. They were a band of Western Native Americans. For centuries, they thrived in the arid environment, developing an intimate knowledge of the local flora and fauna. And the Gashuits were skilled hunter-gatherers, utilizing the valley's resources for sustenance and cultural practices. Their presence established a deep-rooted human history in the region that predates modern settlement by millennia.
So there's been people here for a long time, is what we're saying.
Yeah, and that I struggled with trying to figure out where to start the episode, like I always do, start the history, because, history doesn't start when man produces something on that land.
Right.
The history, the land doesn't just become land then. It's been land this whole time. Anyway, so the mid-19th century brought profound changes to the Tooele Valley. In 1847, Mormon pioneers, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, arrived in the Salt Lake Valley and began to expand their settlements. By 1849, the first pioneers, including John Rowberry and his family, ventured into the Tooele Valley, drawn by its grazing lands, because they probably had cattle and stuff like that. The origin of the name Tooele is subject to a lot of debate. One popular theory suggests that it was named after a Gashua chief, and another theory suggests that maybe the name derives from a Spanish word, tooele, a type of plant found in the valley's marshy area. But regardless of its precise origin, the name became official when Tooele City was incorporated on January 21st, 1853.
And I'm just gonna mention there is a funny story about that I've heard. I was not there. About Pat and the word tool, that he did not know what tool was.
No,
I'm
still struggling with this because I thought it was a power tool.
Yeah, well, and I didn't realize it was also
like
plant.
a drill or something like that.
Yeah. So, but as a woman, a lot of women, we would know what tool is. So,
okay.
Anyways,
yeah. If you ever meet me live, go ahead and ask me about that. I'll tell you the story.
Sounds good.
So early life for settlers was very difficult. They faced challenges of establishing farms in a new and often harsh environment. Tensions also arose with the Gashua people who were displaced because, when the white man moves in, all the Native Americans have to move, I guess.
Yeah.
They were displaced by the new settlements and whose traditional way of life was disrupted then because of it. This led to a period of conflict and adjustment as both groups vied for the valley's resources. And the Gashua people were already pretty skilled at what they did, and knew the area very well.
Yeah.
So the later half of the 19th century and in the early 20th century ushered in a new era of prosperity and change for Tooele. Driven by the discovery of valuable minerals in the surrounding mountains. The Rush Valley Mining District, established in 1864, brought a wave of prospectors and miners to the area, seeking their fortunes in gold, silver, lead, and zinc, as people still do to this day.
Yes.
So that predates all of the stories I'm going to tell you about Asylum 49. So before it was known by its evocative name, the building that houses Asylum 49 in Tooele, Utah, had a long and practical history of serving the local community. Its story is a tangible record of the town's growth and changing social needs, as a lot of these places are that we talk about.
Yeah.
From its 19th century origins to its 21st century commercial use today. So the story begins way back in 1873 with the construction of a private residence for a person named Samuel F. Lee, a prominent early settler in the Tooele Valley. This home was later sold to the county and repurposed to serve a public function as the Tooele County poorhouse, or it could be the infirmary. In its capacity, it provided housing and care for the region's elderly, indigent, and disabled citizens, a common form of social welfare that was around back in that day. In 1953, the community's needs had evolved, and a more modern medical facility was required. The Tooele Valley Hospital was constructed on the site, incorporating parts of the original 19th century structure. For nearly half a century, this hospital was the primary medical center for the county. It was a place where generations of Tooele residents were born, received care for illness and injuries, and where many spent their final days. So, I was thinking of that. Hospitals are a place where people are born and die nowadays. That's one of its big functions.
A lot of the videos I watched, and I always check out the comments, and a lot of the comments were like, "Oh, I was born there. My grandmother was born there. My grandfather died there." There's just a lot of like you said, you
come and go there.
Yeah, exactly.
The facility served as a vital community institution until it was eventually replaced by a new, more advanced hospital built elsewhere in the city that we're not even going to talk about.
Not on that site, nope.
Yeah. After the Tooele Valley Hospital was decommissioned, the old building was left vacant, as oftentimes happens here in the U.S.
Yes.
In 2006, local residents Kim and Kami Anderson purchased the former hospital. Recognizing the unique and aged atmosphere of the building, they repurposed it into a commercial enterprise, a full contact haunted attraction named Asylum 49. Today, the building operates seasonally as an entertainment venue, drawing visitors for its themed scares and capitalizing on the inherent ambiance of the old hospital structure.
So, would you ever go to a full contact?
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Haunted attraction where they could touch you.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I it would really depend on like the legalities. Like if they could touch me, then I have to be able to touch them, and if they punch me, I want to be able to punch them too.
Yeah,
so,
I don't, I think if I've seen some of these places, and I think for this place too, like you have to sign a pretty big waiver.
Yeah. That's, I would want to.
I mean, I don't think they punch you, but I don't know, like these places.
So back in my youth, I went to a YMCA haunted house.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I have been to hundreds of haunted houses in my day. I enjoyed them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I usually laugh in them. I usually have a great time. And I was doing that very thing. I was having a great time laughing, joking around, when somebody grabbed me with chains and put them around my neck and began to try to choke me to death.
What?
Yes. And I managed to get away by taking a step back and maybe elbowing them in an area that was pretty sensitive to them.
Okay.
I'm assuming that it was a male. So that area would be very sensitive to them. And I was able to get away, and nothing was ever done because back in those days, nobody did anything about stuff. So it was just like, okay.
That is so crazy. You've never told me this story before.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, this has always been one of my thoughts of like, and now it's been done, but back when I had the thought, it hadn't been done, so I should have done it. But is like, that's a great horror movie because when you're in a haunted house, like everybody like is supposed to look scary.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're creeped out by seeing a guy with chains until he kills you. And then
I didn't even see him. He came up behind me. So
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's like one of the scariest stories you've literally ever told us ever.
Well, I mean, you have seen me in a haunted house that I used to work at.
Yes.
Walk through. And what kind of comments could you make about that?
So you laugh as you said, and you get like people that work there like, oh hey Pat, hey, what are you doing here, Pat? You working tonight? So it's not really that scary going through that particular haunted house with you. Yeah. But no, I like, okay, all right. Well, so listeners, we just learned that Pat, someone was trying to kill Pat, and
this wasn't the only time in my life. I mean, there's probably been other times in my life. I grew up in the South Side of Chicago. Okay.
But this is wow. I mean, I was going to tell a story about myself in a haunted house where this was my very first one, and I remember I was so scared, and this guy was like coming close to me, to scare me, and I just started shouting at him, "You can't touch me! You can't touch me!" Which is why I know I would never go to a full contact haunted attraction.
Well, I guess I did. I just didn't realize I was doing it.
Gosh.
By the way, this Y was not in my neighborhood. So it was a field trip that we went to. That was probably when I was a teenager. So, yeah.
Listen, I don't know if anyone else listening would kept waiting for Pat to be like, I totally made that up.
You were waiting for that?
Yes, because
why would I say that?
Insane story.
Okay, whatever. So speaking of insane stories, I think unless you have anything to add to their history,
no,
we're gonna take a small break, and then Rebecca will give us some of those insane stories.
All right.
All right, Rebecca, it's time for a debate.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to start with the Man in Black and the locked door. Because
Here comes the Man in Black.
Because that is the one that we told in our ghost story.
Okay.
So this is somebody actually told by a hospital staff. So this was back when it was a hospital. They tell the story of the mysterious Man in Black who silently entered a patient's room one night. A nurse, concerned that a visitor had entered after hours, tried to follow him in, but the door had somehow locked itself. By the time the nurses pried it open, the man had vanished and the patient inside was dead. So some believe the shadowy figure is a harbinger of death. Maybe somebody that shows up when someone's about to die.
Yeah, like death.
Right. Well, or kind of there's those nursing homes where there's the cat.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Styles McKenzie helping you make those rooms sing. Today's style tip. When it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild, like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Arr, fierce. This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip, when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
That can tell when someone's going to die. But that's a real thing, and this is not.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways.
Oh, wait, what'd you say? That was a real thing, and this is not?
Well, it's not I shouldn't say. It exists, but it's a ghost. It's not
It's
not a physical form. So it could also be, and we're going to talk more about this in our next section here, a dark guide that leads spirits through a rumored portal that exists at the hospital.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that, first of all, this made me think now. So a Man in Black would be a lot easier to create this kind of thing versus the Woman in White. So the Woman in White, it has to be some kind of trick of lights or something like that. That's why we're seeing white, right? Whereas the darkness is just a shadow. So I'm going to say that this person was just freaked out about the death. The death didn't occur before the door locked. That's fine. I could say that it happened after the door locked, but maybe the person was waiting on medications and the nurse couldn't get them to the person and that's why they died or something. But I think the nurse was freaked out, and she had saw a shadow or something like that, and then the door closed, and for whatever reason, it could be a fan on, it could be whatever the stuff that Abigail said, that she already said that this could be made up stuff. So, and it could just be a shadowy figure that she sees because it's dark. And a lot of times in those kind of areas, especially when somebody is near their time, they will dim the lights, creating more of a shadowy kind of idea. So
you thought it's a shadow figure?
No, I'm saying it is a shadow, not a shadow figure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But just like you said, this isn't real. So
well, it's not on this plane is what I meant. So,
okay.
The idea is, that I honestly, this seems interesting to me because it is a story that continues to be told about this place. And, I've heard enough stories of instances where there is something that happens when it's their time, and sometimes it is seeing a figure, and I think it's very possible that this particular time this figure was something that manifested itself a little bit more than usual, and somehow mistakenly let itself be seen by someone that wasn't the person who was dying.
So you're saying that this is like a kind of, because this happens multiple times, I'm assuming, if we're going to keep talking about this. So then this is kind of a not very good death angel.
That's I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay. So you're saying that this person is incompetent, this being.
Well, I don't, maybe it was fine with it. I don't know, but
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And what's your rating here?
Oh, 0.
I'm going to give it a 7.
A 7.
Kind of
okay.
Interesting.
All right.
Oh, well, yeah, let's keep...
I'm still waiting for your first 10. I don't think you've ever given a 10.
Yeah. That's a harder one.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll
what
see.
would it take to get a 10?
Well, I feel like I've given a 10, but it was maybe like on the opposite side.
Yeah.
It was like a flipped episode or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But you haven't given a legitimate 10.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. What would it take to get a legitimate 10 out of you, Rebecca?
I think I'd have to see it.
Oh, okay. You would have
Yeah.
to. Okay. So you have an incident that happened with a childhood friend.
Yeah, which I think I've talked about
Yeah.
on other episodes.
But,
yeah.
But you were part of that. Do you give that a 10?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
a 10. Okay. So we have a 10, but we just...
It's not an episode 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So well, you know what? Well, okay. No, you know what? I don't want to keep going back. We're going to go back in time, but let's just keep moving forward on this episode. Because there's also the Joliet prison. I probably gave that one like a 9, like me being in the cell.
Oh, yeah.
Or not the Joliet prison.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Crown Point jail.
Point, yeah.
Yeah. So go back and check out that one. That one's kind of freaky. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Okay. Next one. So talking about this portal, right? So one of the most debated supernatural features at Asylum 49 or Old Tooele, which by the way, we're just pronouncing it several different ways, I believe, throughout the episode because so do other people.
Yeah. We listened to a lot of people pronounce it. My thing was, I'm going to listen to the real estate agents and how they pronounced it, but Rebecca pronounces it different.
Yes.
And I am so I'm so gun shy now from my pronunciation that I will just be like, okay.
Yeah.
And I forgot how that real estate agent said it.
Well, I think whatever you said is probably what you heard, but but I had heard it a little different way. So if I say something different.
To me, it looks like Tooele.
Yeah.
Or Tulia.
Yeah.
One of those two, I would say. But anyways. Okay.
Anyways, is the alleged spiritual portal. So it's a glowing bright threshold that appears to the people that are dying. Guarding this portal is the ghost of Maria, a nurse dressed in white.
Oh, geez.
So we do have a woman in white. I snuck her in. Often seen just days before a patient's passing. While she is gentle, her warnings are serious. Do not go through the portal, which is kind of freaky. The spectral nurse reportedly tells patients that crossing over through that doorway is dangerous, suggesting there's something sinister waiting on the other side. Okay. So maybe the dark man in black is taking you through the portal, whereas Maria shows up a few days ahead of time to be like, don't go through the portal.
Okay. So who is saying these things?
This one I couldn't find like a person that's like, yep, I experienced this, just that it's something that has been told over the years.
Yeah, I think it's an old wives' tale because they have this man in black that they have, so they want to explain it. So, we do a lot to explain our own stories that we have, that don't warrant an explanation because we don't have one, and they just make it up because they need one to satisfy it. So this sounds like something out of a movie. Maria, the nurse dressed in white, that is the gentle, nice one, but the man in black is Death's angel. There,
it sounds like a Stephen King.
Yeah, it does. So 0 for this one, but thanks for the story.
Okay, I'm a little less. Like this one, like, do I think there could be somebody, like, again, some vision that shows people, comes to people before they pass? I mean, it's possible, but the portal concept is pretty weak to me. I don't really.
Yeah. Do you believe that there could be a portal to
No, I don't think so. Not in this case.
So then Maria would be guarding nothing, and the man in black, what is he doing then?
Well, the man in black, that's a little different, right? Because it's like a shadow figure that goes in, the door's locked, they break in, man's gone, and guy's dead.
Okay.
Now that could be a murder. Right, or it could be something supernatural. I lean on the supernatural for that one because obviously.
Is this because you just watched Mission Impossible?
No, it's because you just told us about how someone tried to kill you. Anyways, but no, I guess it would have to be Mission Impossible because obviously someone would have seen this guy leave. So, but anyways, going to Maria, I'm gonna give that one like a 4 because it's like, is there maybe a ghost nurse? Possible, but I don't really believe the portal thing and all that.
So I saw Maria once, and she was, this was in like New York area. And this is like olden days. And she was part of a gang, or actually she was like the girlfriend of somebody that was in a gang. Mm-hmm. And there was 2 different gangs too. So there was the Sharks and there was the Jets. And yeah, so Maria dated one of the Jets, which she should have dated a shark. And it became like Romeo and Juliet. It was insane. There was lots of singing going on about Officer Krupke and stuff like that. So anyways, okay.
Did you give it a 0, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I've seen West Side Story.
I see.
So that's the reason why. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's move on. This next one is probably the most famous ghost of it. I wanted to start with the one that we did the story about, but this is one of the most popular, and that's Wes. The ghost of Wes. Wes was once a resident. Wes was once a resident. This sounds like a tongue twister. Yeah. Wes once
sells seashore.
Resident patient suffering from Alzheimer's.
Okay.
After his passing, his spirit reportedly remained confused, scared, and still lingering in the hallway outside of his old room. Visitors and staff say they feel an uneasy presence there. One medium attempted to help Wes cross over, but was thwarted.
You have unread texts from Golf Buds. Would you like me to read them?
Yes.
Okay. Johnny says, what are the nicotine pouches you had on the course? Walker says, 8 milligram on nicotine pouches. Billy says, I love the mint one.
I like that one.
Walker says, me too. By the way, you both stink at golf. LOLOL.
Come on. Carry on nicotine pouches. Shop now at onnicotine.com/group text. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Thwarted. Why?
Yes. Why? Because a dark, malevolent entity was said to be attached to us, always looming just behind him. Some believe it may be feeding off his confusion and fear, keeping him earthbound. The medium reportedly said, quote, "It was like trying to pull someone out of the water with a weight chained to their leg."
Because what would happen if the medium was able to get rid of Wes then? So there'd be no more stories. She'd make no more money then with that.
Well, I don't think she's sticking around there. She's moving on to something else.
Okay.
I think it would help her get business if she could actually get rid of ghosts.
Okay. Well, so I'm going to say, first of all, there is a form of Buddhism where, and I've talked about this before, where somebody dies, the family members need to keep them in the home for 7 days, and every day they meet with like a monk, and the monk tells them that they've died every single day, so that they understand this. So that whole idea freaks me out, that I'd be confused about my own death.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that does happen necessarily, and I don't believe that this happened. So okay, so who was reporting this then too?
Well, this is
These are just people.
Yeah, well, the medium they brought in, and I'm assuming this probably happened more recently, because there's been a lot of people, I did read a lot of different comments and things of people saying that they've been in this room or just outside of this room, and it always feels like cold and creepy. And so they brought a medium in, and then this is what she reported.
Interesting thing about haunted houses, they pay for the smell. They pay for it to be cool in different areas. They pay money for this. The haunted house that I worked at had a natural stink to it, so they didn't have to pay for their stink, and which was one of the things that I remember talking with the owner about, and he was really happy about that. Where you would think owning a stinky place would be, something. So, anyways, they pay for that. That's part of the attraction. That's part of what gets you. That's part of how they keep you coming back. So, I don't think there's any credence to this except to legitimize their own business. So I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go 0 on this one again.
All right. I'm going to give this one a 6.
Okay.
Yes. All right. We got a couple more here. Next is another popular set of ghosts. This is Samuel and Thomas, the father and son spirits.
Okay.
So the hospital, as you told us, was originally the private home of Samuel F. Lee, generous community figure. He and his young son, Thomas, 6 or 7 years old, when he passed, are often seen roaming the building. Samuel's spirit seems almost eager to chat, proudly recounting his good deeds in life. Thomas is more mischievous, tugging on sleeves, hiding objects, or startling guests for fun. In one ghost hunt, I love this story, Thomas was blamed for pulling a cane out from under a visitor, causing them to stumble. Clearly, his sense of humor hasn't left him.
Okay. So this is obviously then after the conversion into Asylum 49, it sounds like.
No, I think this one has been around for a long time.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that, but there were ghost hunters going into the building before it was, like after it closed, but before it was converted.
Oh, okay. So in like the 1990s maybe or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't, like, if this was true, it could be proven. There would be pictures of Thomas and Samuel. And by the way, they never were at the hospital. They lived, and I'm assuming died on that plot of land. But I don't know for sure they did, I just know that the house was made for Samuel F. Lee, and it was a house. So I'm going to have to I'll give this one a 1 because I don't know enough about it, but I'm leaning more towards this sounds really like, this just sounds made up.
Well, I think this is another situation. We have this sometimes where there are some mischievous ghosts happening, or there's some ghosts around, but we don't necessarily know for sure who they are, right? There's a lot of death, a lot of things happened at this place. But Samuel and Thomas are famous names associated with it. So perhaps that's why, they're associated with the hauntings.
But it's another thing that happens that they can't explain. So then they try to come up with explanations for it and say Samuel and Thomas then. So it's another thing that just proves that people make up stories all the time. They just don't know that they're making up stories.
Well, I think things are happening. They're just trying to come up with a reason for it. So for me, this is a 7.
Okay.
All right. I've got one more. And this one is the little girl.
Okay.
So Jessica is the name of a young spirit that believes to haunt the location. But we have a story that says she doesn't always stay there.
Mm-hmm. So
this is a comment that was left on a YouTube video. Don't Scare Claire is the channel. I encourage you to check it out. She's Aussie.
She's what? Aussie?
She's from Australia.
Aussie.
And she does a great job. Oi, sorry.
Yeah,
of telling stories. And this is a woman named Courtney left this comment 3 months ago. So this is not that long ago.
All right.
She says, I'm excited to see this. I'm new to your channel. I live in Tooele County and have been to this location multiple times. We had a little girl follow us home. So weird. My brother saw her first and asked if my daughter had a friend over. No, she didn't. Then my daughter was on a video call with my mother on her tablet and told my mother that there was a little girl who wouldn't leave her alone. My mother asked my daughter to show her, and my mother saw the little blonde girl in my daughter's room. At that point, we decided to lay down some ground rules. I told her she can't scare anyone, she can't break anything, but she can play in the playroom if she wanted. She ended up leaving. I have a feeling she just likes to have fun scaring people. The ghost tour is probably fun for her. So some people think she wants to play, but certainly it can be pretty scary if it's happening in your house.
All right. So then if this could be seen, then they can make a video of her then. So there needs to be a video of this then.
It's the only way. I'm not going to take the words of the people.
The words of someone that comments on that particular thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I take it as, oh, that's a really cool story, but that's all that it means to me. There's nothing that backs it up to me. I mean, if this was for reals, then wouldn't this be a YouTube video? Wouldn't this be something that wouldn't this be something that investigators are going to? Wouldn't this be something we've all heard of? So it's just somebody's word versus the rest of the world. No one else has seen this thing.
Well, to me, this one has some something to it, just because
some legs to it,
because multiple people saw this, the brother and the grandma and the little girl. So that saw the other little girl. So I feel like there's a little bit more to this. There are other people that have talked about this little girl spirit at Asylum 49, and then this is the only one I found that was real specific about her, like actually haunting people.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'll give it an 8.
Okay.
There you go, because it comes from somebody specific and multiple people.
All right. So what would be your overall rating then?
So my overall rating for this one, I guess I'll go with a 7. I had an 8 and a 6, and the rest were 7. So we'll or maybe I even had a 4 in there, but that's all right. We'll still go 7 for this one.
All right. So I gave 1. So then averaging it out, I can't do a point. So I'm going to say 1 for the whole entire thing.
All right. Everybody's pretty haunted.
Okay. So that brings us to the closing arguments. This is our last chance to convince you to vote our way. We are each given 1 minute of uninterrupted time. We will time each other on the ghostly studio timer to keep everyone honest. Rebecca, are you ready?
I am.
And away you go. It's going to be a long countdown, though, it looks like.
Hey, there we go. All right. So I think this place is haunted. It was a hospital. We know that hospitals are often spooky. And if you listen to nurses, they will tell you stories. So we have some stories from nurses that worked there, but now it's embraced its spookiness You know, no one's bulldozed this thing. No one's turned it into something else. They're like, nope, we're going to keep it spooky and we're going to keep doing spooky things and freaking people out here. So it doesn't surprise me that these ghosts have stuck around and are still freaking people out. I think it makes sense. So yeah, I think it's haunted. We got a man in black. We got a woman in white. We got a little girl following people around. It's haunted.
All right. You still had like 12 seconds left, Rebecca.
There you go.
All right. So I'm going to put 1 minute on the timer. And I'm going to turn up the volume here so people can hear it then.
Ooh.
All right. There will be a long timer for this one, but I feel like I am ready enough to get started here. So I'm going to hit the button, and then when it gets to 3 is when I'm going to start thinking about what I'm going to say.
All right, here we go.
All right. So there's been no hard evidence in this particular episode that's been presented. There's only word of mouth. That's all that there is. And word of mouth in this particular episode is not multiple people talking about a single event, that multiple people saw this event. It is one person seeing the event or two people seeing the event, but only one person commenting on it. So this means nothing then. This is the same as anybody that says, you know, I saw the Loch Ness Monster. I saw this. I saw that. It doesn't necessarily stand up if only one person saw it at any given time. So I'm going to say definitely not haunted at all. And I'm going to end it with 10 seconds. So I went 2 seconds further than you, Rebecca.
Okay.
Just to be a little bit different.
There you go.
So don't let your friends miss out on the chills. Share Ghostly with them and help us grow this community of paranormal enthusiasts. Your support means the world to us. Remember to go vote because that is very important. And the polls will be up at ghostlypodcast.com/polls, POLLS. But you can always go to Ghostly Podcast and there will be a poll button that you can press to visit it right away. I want to give a shout out to our VIP producers who make this all possible. We have Andrew,
Alicia,
Becky,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Jessica,
Alice,
Aaron,
and Hope. So is it real? You be the judge. Share your verdict on ghostlypodcast.com's poll section and let the debate continue. And also, too, if you have a story about this particular Asylum 49 or previous names, you can go ahead and vote as well and leave that in the comments, and we might read that on the next episode.
Yes.
Make sure you subscribe to Ghostly now and get ready for more spine-tingling encounters with the unknown as the next one I'm very, very excited about.
Yes. So again, if you write to us or you support us on Patreon, like physically write to us, I mean, like the snail mail, we're going to take into consideration what you're interested in. So our next episode of Ghostly, we're going to be talking about more ghosts of the White House because it'll be July 2nd, so we'll be close to July 4th. But we're going to be real specific. We're going to talk about ghosts of the White House that passed around the War of 1812.
Yeah, and that was a suggestion by Abigail.
Yes.
So everybody, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. You can also join our email list at the bottom of ghostlypodcast.com, or you could DM us and just say, hey, I want to join the list, and we will add you if you give us your email address. Absolutely.
We also have a book club coming up. So if you've ever been interested in book club, now is the time to go jump on book club. If you go to ghostlypodcast.com/book club, you can join today.
Where you will all see me sweat because I haven't started the book yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
And it's July 5th or something like that?
No, I think we got one more week. It's like the 10th or...
Oh, okay.
10th, yeah.
Well, that still scares me. So, all right. Until next time, stay ghostly.
Bye.
You have unread texts from Golf Buds. Would you like me to read them?
Yes.
Okay. Johnny says, what are the nicotine pouches you had on the course? Walker says, 8 milligram on nicotine pouches. Billy says, I love the mint one.
I like that one.
Walker says, me too. By the way, you both stink at golf. LOLOL.
Come on. Carry on nicotine pouches. Shop now at onnicotine.com/group text. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.